guys.
Good to see you.
Hi.
Hello, 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 hello. Happy Easter.
How are you guys doing?
All right.
Are you happy? Oh, that's good.
It's good to see all of you.
That's good.
And every year we do a reading of some books. And I always read the same book because it's one of my favorite books, Where the Wild Things Are.
Ooh.
How many of you guys have read this before? It is a great book. So I am going to read Where the Wild Things Are, and then Miss Michelle is going to read
The
Rainbow Fish. How many have that one?
Okay.
Okay, that's not bad. All right, we got an audience that knows these fan favorites.
That's good.
All right, you guys ready for the wild things? But I'm going to need a little help. Okay, so there are going to be certain parts where I need you guys to participate. All right? Okay. Where the wild things are. There's some wild things right there. The night Max wore his wolf suit and made mischief of one kind and another. Do you guys make mischief? Do your moms and dads ever say you guys are making mischief? Like Max? His mother called him Wild Thing, and Max said, I'll eat you up.
You're not supposed to say that to your mom.
So he
That's good.
was sent to bed without eating anything. That very night in Max's room, a forest grew.
Ooh.
See the forest growing? And grew.
Oh, it's getting bigger.
And grew.
Ooh.
Until his ceiling hung with vines.
Spooky.
And the walls became the world all around. And an ocean tumbled by with a private boat for Max, and he sailed through night and through day, and in and out of weeks and almost over a year to where the wild things are.
Ooh. Let's hear it. Ooh.
Ooh. And when he came to the place where the wild things are, they roared their terrible roars. Let's hear a roar.
Roar! Wait, we
And
can do better than that.
One more time. Roar.
Yeah.
You got to have your claws up. Roar. And they gnashed their terrible teeth.
Let's hear some gnashing. Yeah.
And they rolled their terrible eyes. Roll your terrible eyes.
Oh, this is good. They're good. They're good.
And they showed their terrible claws. Get your claws up high. Till Max said, be still.
Whoa, Max.
And tamed them with the magic trick of staring into all their yellow eyes without blinking once. Who can look at me without blinking?
No blinking. It's like you're hypnotized.
Oh, I couldn't take it.
It's hard. They're good.
They were good.
They're good.
And they were frightened. And they called him the most wild thing of all. And made him king of all the wild things. And now, cried Max, let the wild rumpus start.
Oh, we need some rumpus going on.
How do you do the wild rumpus? Woo,
you gotta stand up. Stand up.
Hey!
There's a rumpus.
Rumpus. Hey,
rumpus.
Hey, this is the wild rumpus. You guys got to make some noise at the wild rumpus. Get noisy. Make some noise.
Boom. Hey, we need claws at the rumpus.
Claws.
Claws at the rumpus.
There you go. That's some rumpusing.
Woo.
Oh, that was exhausting.
It'll wear you out at the rumpus.
Now stop, Max said, and he sent the wild things off to bed without their supper. And Max, the king of all the wild things, was lonely.
Oh.
And he wanted to be where someone loved him best of all.
He wanted his mommy.
He wanted his mommy. Then all around from far away across the world, he smelled good things to eat. So he gave up being king of where the wild things are. But the wild things cried, oh, please don't go. We'll eat you up, we love you so. And Max said, no, And the wild things roar their terrible roars.
Roar!
And gnash their terrible teeth.
Arr.
And roll their terrible eyes.
Arr. Arr. Oh, that's a yawn.
And show their terrible claws. Show your claws. But Max, being cool as he was, stepped into the private boat and waved goodbye.
Farewell, wild things.
And sailed back over a year and in and out of weeks and through a day. And into the night of his very own room where he found his supper waiting for him. And it was still hot. So Mommy took care of him. Way to go, guys. Good job.
Way to go, POTUS.
Thank you, Wild Things. It's been a pleasure being wild with you.
Let's say goodbye to the president. Say bye,
Yay!
Mr. President.
Let me come get some high fives before I go. Come on. High fives, Wild Things. Good job being wild. Good job, good job. I am. Good job, good job. Very wild. You guys were excellent. You guys were excellent. You guys were excellent, Wild Things. You do. Happy birthday in a month and a half, or 2 months, or 3 months. Good to see you.
It's a little drippy, so don't.
Good to see you guys. Okay. We got to get to the First Lady now.
Probably
I am the President of the United States. Who would have thunk it? No,
do
no
your thing.
selfies yet. Love you. See you guys. See ya.
Okay. Are you guys ready for the next book? Okay, everybody get back in your seats. Everyone, get your listening ears on. We're going to read The Rainbow Fish. And I've got Lindsay here. Everybody say hello to Lindsay. So we've got a big book for you guys so you can see all the pictures while I read, okay? This is a little less scary than Where the Wild Things Are. This is about a beautiful fish. A long way out in the deep blue sea, there lived a fish. Not just an ordinary fish, but the most beautiful fish in the entire ocean. His scales were every shade of blue and green and purple, with sparkling silver scales among them. Isn't he pretty or handsome? The other fish were amazed at his beauty. They called him Rainbow Fish. Come on, Rainbow Fish, they would call. Come and play with us. But the rainbow fish would just glide past, proud and silent, letting his scales shimmer. One day, a little blue fish followed after him. Rainbow Fish, he called, wait for me. Please give me one of your shiny scales. They're so wonderful, and you have so many. What do you think the Rainbow Fish said? He said, you want me to give you one of my scales? Well, who do you think you are? Cried the Rainbow Fish. Get away from me. Shocked, the little blue fish swam away. He was so upset, he told all his friends what happened. From then on, no one would have anything to do with the Rainbow Fish. They turned away when he swam by. Why do you guys think that they did that? What? Yes, yell out. Why do you think? Because he was mean and a little selfish and he wouldn't share. Well, what good were the dazzling, shimmering scales when no one would admire them? Now he was the loneliest fish in the entire ocean. One day he poured out his troubles to the starfish. I really am beautiful. Why doesn't anybody like me? The starfish said, I can't answer that for you. But if you go beyond the coral reef to a deep cave, you will find the wise octopus. Maybe she can help you. So the rainbow fish found the cave. It was very dark inside, and he couldn't see anything. Then suddenly, two eyes caught him in their glare, and the octopus emerged from the darkness. I have been waiting for you, said the octopus with a deep voice. The waves have told me your story. This is my advice. Give a glittering scale to each of the other fish. You will no longer be the most beautiful fish in the sea, but you will discover how to be happy. Can you all see the pictures? I can't, the rainbow fish started to say. But the octopus had already disappeared into a dark cloud of ink. Give away my scales, my beautiful shining scales? Never. I could never, ever be happy without them. Suddenly, he felt the light touch of a fin. The little blue fish was back. Rainbow fish, please don't be angry. I just want one scale, one little scale. The rainbow fish started to waver. Only one very, very small shimmery scale, he thought. Well, maybe I wouldn't miss just one. So carefully, the rainbow fish pulled out the smallest scale and gave it to the little fish. Thank you so very much, the little fish bubbled playfully as he tucked the shiny scale in amongst his blue ones. A rather peculiar feeling came over the rainbow fish. For a long time, he watched the little blue fish swim back and forth with his new scale glittering in the water. The little fish whizzed through the ocean with his scale flashing, so it didn't take long before the rainbow fish was surrounded by the other fish. Everyone wanted a glittering scale. The rainbow fish shared his scales left and right, and the more he gave away, the more delighted he became. When the water around him was filled with glimmering scales, he at last felt at home among the other fish. Finally, the rainbow fish had only one shining scale left. His most prized possessions had been given away, yet he was very happy. Come on, rainbow fish, they called. Come and play with us. Here I come, said the rainbow fish, and as happy as a splash, he swam off to join his friends. The end. So what do you guys think the moral of that story is? What do? You share. And when you share, what happens? You become happy and you make lots of friends, right? So don't be stingy, okay? All right? All right, thank you guys for being such great listeners. You guys want to give more high fives and hugs? Come on, let's hug it out. What happened? What happened? It'll be okay, babe.